All right. I am so excited to welcome Ene to our podcast today to share all her wonderful ideas and the work that she's been doing. Welcome, Ene. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Hi, Zara. Hello. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this all week. Thank you so much. So, my background, I was born and raised in Nigeria, and I moved to the UK when I was about 12 years old, and I went to secondary school here. I then went back to Nigeria for university and came back to the UK after university. I met a wonderful man in my journey and got married. I've been married now for about 30 years, coming up to 30 years, I think. Yes, this year will be 30 years. And we have two grown-up sons. And as I said, I live in the UK and I am excited to be here with you.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. So, Ene, what is the change that you want to see in the world?
Well, the change that I want to see in the world, Sarah, is the change that I painfully was dragged through in my in my journey in my life. So what you may know about me is that I am the author of a #1 best-selling book. What you may also know about me is that I am a TEDx speaker. And what you may also know about me is that I am passionate about helping typically midlife women rediscover and see more of the possibilities of their life, of who and what they can be. And the reason I'm so passionate about this, Zara, is that for so long, I didn't see all of who I could be. See, I had a corporate career of almost 30 years. And as I built the corporate dream and lived the corporate life, increasingly, I realized that a large part of my life was unlived. Part of me needed further expression. I knew that I hadn't quite tapped into all of who I could be and all of what I could do. But because I'd done what I'd done for so long, it was all I believed I could do. So I stayed,
Mm,
yeah, I stayed stuck, Zara.
mm.
And it wasn't until one day in January 2020, as I sat in the small meeting room of the office building where I worked, and I heard words that really shocked me into movement. I remember distinctly, uh, um, this is ridiculous. This is awful. I want an answer. I want an answer now. And I remember as I heard the words, the walls of this small room started to vibrate and beads of sweat were dripping down my face. My hands started to shake. And at one point I had to hold on to the edges of the table to steady myself. My mouth opened. I couldn't have trusted what would come out. And I remember looking out to the window of this small meeting room, as though the answers lay on the other side of the window. And as I looked out to the window, I saw my life literally flash before me. I saw all the things I had built up. I saw the company car, the benefits, the bonuses, the pension, the salary, the promotion. And then, Zara, on the other side, I saw the tears that I had left on my pillow that morning as I cried once again, saying that there's got to be more to my life than this. And so I looked back in the room, my mouth closed, all eyes were looking at me, waiting for a response, but there was no response. I pulled my chair back, I gathered myself, I grabbed my stuff, and I left. Now you may say, what do you mean you left, Sarah? You may be thinking, what exactly do you mean? Let me help you understand. I don't mean I left the meeting. I don't mean I left the room. I don't even mean I left the building. I mean that I left that part of my life behind. and I went in search
Mm.
of me.
Oh, what a powerful story. So what happened next?
I went on a journey of reinvention. Fortunately, it was we were about to experience some of the one of the biggest setbacks, crisis in the world as we knew it at that time, called the pandemic, COVID-19.
Right.
And the world was starting to shut down anyway. So I went on a 6-month journey of really getting to really know myself, Zara. Getting to find out, who is this person called Ene? Who was she born to be? Before life told her who she was, who was she? And what are her gifts? What are her talents? What are her superpowers? Because she must have some, right? That's what I
Absolutely.
said to myself. Absolutely, Zara. And so I discovered that actually there are some things that I am really good at that I had completely diminished. Why? Because I compared myself to other people.
Mm.
I spent so long in comparison. And of course, when we compare ourselves, we never quite measure up. The
Mhm.
only person who loses when we compare ourselves is actually us.
Right.
I've lost so many years not really knowing who I was. And so I now developed, I, I, I learned, I didn't learn. I discovered, I think that's a better word, a passion was born out of this. And that passion was really about what I call going back to get the others. That's my
Mm.
mission, to go back and get the others. Now, who are these others? You may be thinking, Sarah. These others are women just like me, women in midlife, who maybe have raised children. They've been stay-at-home moms. They may have had a career. They may actually be full-time career women who are doing wonderful things in professional roles in the world. But within them, there is something telling them that there's got to be more to their life than this. But they don't know how to tap into what that thing is.
Mm.
My mission
Right.
is to help that woman rediscover herself and develop the clarity and the courage to reinvent herself and birth new dreams.
Amazing. So, Ine, that's a beautiful story of, I can relate to it because I spent many years in the corporate environment. So I can relate to what you were just talking about. And it seems like you were looking for your freedom from that environment and it was draining you of your energy. So, what did you do once you left? What were some of the things? And because I know there are lots of other women who are in the same boat now, today, who really would love an opportunity to be able to breathe again, just be able to breathe, be able to look forward to the day instead of waking up in the morning and feeling, oh my God, I need to go to that job again. So,
Yeah.
what were some of the things that you thought, and what were some of the things that you changed in order to find peace within you?
Yes. Thank you for that, Zira. So, what were some of the things that I thought? One thing, the biggest thing that I thought, Zira, because as I said, we were starting to settle into the world as we were about to know it, i.e., the pandemic, and people were starting to fall ill, and and sadly, some people were even losing their lives. And don't forget that we didn't know quite how to manage the pandemic, especially at the start. We didn't know how long it would last. There were so many different versions of what possible versions of what was going on in the world, and how things would progress. And so the biggest thought that was going on in my mind, Zara, was, if I was one of the people who didn't survive, I would have gone to my grave not really knowing who I was.
That's powerful.
You know that I can be. And so, Zara, my personal challenge to myself and my challenge to the people who I work with is to live with no regrets. Because honestly, nobody knows when the last day will be.
Mm, so
So
true.
that's one thing I did, yes. So that's one thing I did. I
Mm-hmm.
went I went on a journey of self-discovery. Um, I took a lot, Zara. This was where I had always loved personal development, but I didn't realize just how much I loved it. When I walked out of my career, I really threw myself headlong into personal development because I believe that it's very challenging to grow professionally, to grow in business, to grow in life if we don't grow as people, as individuals. So I went on a journey of personal development to find myself, seeking myself. Another thing I did, Zara, was I asked for help. I got myself a coach.
Oh,
I
that's
asked,
such an important thing. Oh my God. So many people suffer in silence and don't know what to do about it.
absolutely.
How did that help you?
Oh my God, it helped me tremendously. So let me say, because I want to be clear and I don't want to mislead anybody. Since then, between then and now, I've actually had 5 coaches. Total transparency. Um, but I went on a quest of getting getting help
Hmm.
to talk things through, to
Yeah,
clarify the multitude of thoughts that were up in here in my
right.
head
Yes.
that were all tangled up. And
Jumbled
I
up.
needed
Yes.
help, right? And I needed help from somebody to just say, right, let's just get you clear. Just spit out in any way you can all the thoughts going on in your head. And we will unscramble them and then scrub and then put them together in nice, neat
Mm,
piles. It makes sense. So I got a coach. And how did that help me? That helped me tremendously because after that I got another one, then another one, then another one. The first coach helped me to get clear on what I wanted to do. My first coach helped me to get clear on what I wanted to do. The
right.
next 4 coaches were coaches who were doing what I wanted to do and then helped me to develop my skills in that area. So I got speaking coaches. I worked with Les Brown. I worked with Les Brown one-on-one as an executive coach. I worked with Lisa Nichols one-on-one. She helped me to build my brand. And well, I say build my brand. She helped me to launch my brand. And then I also got speaker training. Listen, I am not proud about asking for help, Sarah.
You invested in yourself. That's how I see it, right? You're asking
Yeah.
for help and you're working with coaches. What you're really doing is you're investing in yourself so that you can be a bigger version of you, so that you can play full out, so that you can have access to the knowledge without having to actually go and do all the work from scratch to get the
And
knowledge.
make the mistakes, right, Zara? And make the mistakes, absolutely. So I did invest in myself quite heavily. There's something that one of my coaches says, actually, Les Brown says, he says, invest at a level in which you expect to see results.
Mm.
Mm,
Beautiful words. Yes.
right, right, yes.
Yes, yes,
So
yes. So now, how are you putting all of what you've learned to use? How has
wonderful
your
question.
life changed, first of
How
all?
has my life changed? Now, there's a word that you and I have learned. For me, I've learned the word recently. Not because I didn't know the word. I knew the word. It's a standard English word. I'll tell you what it is in a second. It's a standard English word. We all know the word. But I learned the word on at a deeper level
Mm,
only in the last 4 to 5 months.
Okay, I'm
And
curious. What is the word?
when I say that word, I guarantee you, you will say, because you've heard it said many times in our shared space. And that word is certainty.
Yes,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
How have I changed? I've changed in two main ways, Sarah. Two main ways. The first is I am a lot more forgiving of myself.
right,
I'm a lot more forgiving of others. I I'm now quite happy to say, confident to say when I don't know something. Actually, I'm very confident to say that I know very little. Where before, that would have been a challenge for me. Before,
right.
I would have had to, I'm just being totally honest, I would have had to have been right and I've had to have the last word. I knew everything. Now I say, I know nothing.
Mm,
I know very little. I have become a lot more open to the fact that I really don't know it all, that nobody actually knows it all, that we're all on a journey of life, of knowledge, of self-discovery, of growth. I judge myself a lot less, and as a result, I judge other people a lot less.
right.
I don't judge situations, allow things to unfold. So I can see myself literally, almost tangibly becoming a much better version of who I was as a person.
So let me ask you a question along those lines.
Please.
For women who, or people, men and women both, who are in a corporate environment and are stressed out and can't breathe, they're feeling suffocated. And like you said, they have to have all the answers. There's this perfection that is demanded of you in your role in the corporate environment. Can they achieve inner peace without leaving the corporate world?
I believe the answer to that question is absolutely yes. You can have inner peace wherever you are.
Mm.
You don't need
So,
to leave the corporate world to have inner peace.
right. So, how would someone who is looking for that inner peace, whether they are self employed or they are still in the corporate world, what is the journey that you would take them on in
Yes.
order to discover themselves?
Yeah. So, Zara, let me start by saying, first of all, that you've probably heard the phrase, wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah, Dr. Wayne
Wherever
Dyer's
you
beautiful
go.
words. Yeah.
Whether you're in the corporate world or you're an entrepreneur, you will have challenges in life. Challenges are a fact of life,
Mhm.
right? There is no escape from challenges, from difficult situations, from setbacks, from crisis, from self-doubt, whatever it is. Um, Inner peace is a choice. Inner peace is a choice. So what's the journey I would take a person on? The first thing is to make that choice. First of all, determine, commit to having inner peace. It's a choice. The second thing, Zara, is to accept responsibility. What do I mean? Responsibility for how you get from where you are to where you want to go.
Mm.
So what happened to you, how somebody may have spoken to you, who treated you badly, who wasn't nice to you, anything that has happened to you is a circumstance, a moment in time. It
Mm.
doesn't define who you are. A lot of the time, we wear, we have a tendency to wear the cloak of our circumstances and adopt
Yes.
them as who we are.
Right. Right.
So we have a situation that didn't quite work out. We might then say that we're a failure.
Mm.
We wear it and we take it on as our identity. So
Oh,
I would also, oh yeah, I invite my clients to lay down the load, put
can
down
you
the
give us
load.
an example? Do you have a story about this?
I love that question you asked me. I have a personal story about this. In the year 2000, I left a corporate career. I left the most prestigious organization I've ever worked for, an investment bank. My children were very young, and I left to set up my own business because I wanted to spend more time with my children. Working at an investment bank with very young children, I was working 18, 20 hours a day. It just wasn't
I'm familiar with that.
wasn't sustainable. Exactly. Thank you. So I left to set up my own business, and 4 years later, Zira, that business crashed and burned. That business failed, leaving me and my family over £100,000 in debt. Pounds is
Oh
in
my.
Great British pounds, yeah, which is about 160, 170,000 US dollars. Now, anyone listening to this now may in 2023 think, well, yeah, that's a lot of money, but that's not life-threatening money. But let me remind our listeners that this was the year 2000. To my family, it may as well have been £10 million.
Yeah.
And Zara, I'm ashamed to say that for many nights, the guilt and the shame and the humiliation and the embarrassment that I had put on my family, who I didn't think deserved this or deserved to have a family member like me, was more than.
Oh, that hurts.
And for a long time, Zara, for a long time, I actually considered doing something foolish.
Oh no.
Yeah. And so it took me and my family and my mother, particularly. My mother became my coach. I didn't realize that my mother was a coach until that time. You see, sometimes adversity brings out the best in people and in situations, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
in the depths of that madness, Sarah, I realized just how much my family loved me. And I realized that my mother had been my coach, my personal coach, my entire life. She coached me out of that mess. Obviously, I didn't do anything foolish because I'm still here 20 years later.
Yes.
But I wore, Zara, to answer your question now specifically, I wore the cloak of failure. I was a failure. That's what I said to myself. I am a failure. I didn't say my business failed. I didn't say I did things that didn't work. I said I personally, me, Ene Obi, I was a failure.
Oh, that is very difficult. Oh.
And Zara, here's the thing. Every single woman who I work with, every single woman, bar none, comes to me with her own baggage. It may not be business failure, but she comes to me with her own baggage that we
Yes.
first have to unpack and put down before we can go forward.
Right. And how do you do that?
We identify what it is, Zara. First of all, I tell you what the journey we go on is. The first thing we do is we identify where we're going. We identify what she wants. So you are where you are. Where would you like to be? That's
Okay.
alone. That clarity piece is enough for some people. For a few people, just helping her to see where she's going is enough for her to say, oh my God, I'm running now. I'm running. For the vast majority of people, it's only the first step. Because when we identify the dream, the vision, the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, when we identify what we'd like to look back on our lives on when we get to the end,
Right.
she is not always able to take the first step to make that dream a reality. Why? Oftentimes is because of the cloak, the stories. You said to me a minute ago, you said you have a story to
Yes.
explain. That word story is a powerful word. And that's also something I help my clients to do, to tell her story, her
Our
unique story.
stories
Yeah,
become our
right.
identity, right? Yes.
So we change the narrative, Zara. We change the narrative. What do I mean? Did what happened to you happen to you? Yes, that's
Yes.
fact.
Yeah.
Were there lessons in the story? Sometimes we don't see the lessons in the story. Were you responsible for what happened to you? Maybe. To what extent were you responsible? Let's put those things down. For the things you were responsible, what were you actually trying to achieve?
Hmm.
That helps us to see that actually it is a fault in the system, maybe a narrow thinking, maybe something that could have been improved on. But it's not actually that you were wrong, because where you were going was where you what what you put in place was meant to take you where you were going. The fact
Right.
that it didn't doesn't make you a failure, it makes the system a failure, the process a failure. Let us first of all see things for the way they are. And then I ask her at the end of that process, I ask her, so is it actually true then that you are whatever she thought she was,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a failure, a procrastinator, imposter syndrome, fear of failure, fear of criticism? Is it actually true that that story that you've told yourself um, signifies, reflects? Is
Right.
it true? And 0, 10 times out of 10, no, it's not true. 0, it's this.
Right.
What am I doing?
Shifting.
Your
Yeah.
It's perspective.
Yeah.
It's perspective.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. And sometimes when something is right under our nose, we can't see it, right? I mean, you need help to see something. I remember that my father was prone to losing his keys all the time. He just couldn't see them, even though they were right there. He had to ask someone else to look for the keys because he couldn't see it himself.
Yeah.
And I think that in coaching, that's what we help people do, is to see things that they cannot see on their own because they're too closely involved in the
Yes.
situation. And it just
Yes.
becomes confusing.
Yes. So that's so well put, Zara. So oftentimes, some people think coaching is about telling somebody what to do. Now, you and I both know that it's not actually, because all the
Mhm.
answers that we seek are actually
Are
within
inside.
us. All the
Yes.
answers we seek are within us. But it takes somebody asking us the right questions and just giving us the time and space to think things through, to talk things through, and the path becomes clear. I was on a call yesterday with Michelle Moore,
Mhm.
who you and I both know, and I was experiencing a block about something about my next steps in a particular area of my business. Michelle asked me three questions. And in those three questions, after those questions, I said to her, I'm done. I've got my answer. Thank you. Goodbye. I'm done. Three questions. I was done. But
Okay,
I
so now
couldn't.
I'm curious. Now I'm curious. What questions were there?
Um, it was about my business and some of the launches that I am planning for the rest of the year.
Mhm.
But I couldn't see the link between. And I'm a coach, but I often say to people, the fact that you're a coach doesn't mean you're not a human being. You're still
Yes,
a human
that's right.
being.
That's right.
I still
Co-
my own coach,
yeah.
right?
Coaches need coaches.
Absolutely right. I've still got my own blind spots, right?
Yeah,
My own blind
coaches
spots.
need coaches. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it was about areas of my business. She asked me three questions. Three questions. And I said to her, I'm done. I'm complete. Thank you. Goodbye. That's what I needed. Yeah. So you
Amazing.
just, yeah, yeah.
Right. So what is the advice? Where should people start when they're feeling stuck, when they don't know what to do, when they're feeling claustrophobic where they are, whether it's in the middle of a relationship, in the middle of a corporate environment, whether they're struggling with their business, where should someone start? What is the first thing that they should do?
Okay. Great question. Thank you. I think the first thing for people to do is to, and this may be a challenge, but as much as possible, just don't panic.
Mm.
Just
Mm.
panicking doesn't help. The worry doesn't help. The three words I say to all my clients, well, to everybody actually who I know, I say trust the process. The first thing, just trust the process, right? If there is a challenge, if there's a problem, there is a solution. We may not know what it is, but it's there. The answers all lie within you. So just calm down and trust the process, first of all. First of all. Secondly, get help. I say ask for help. If you can seek the support of a coach, get a coach, get somebody who can talk you through what you're feeling, how you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you're seeing. Talking helps. So ask for help from a trusted advisor, a coach, or mentor. And the third thing is take action. I always say take action, baby steps. Sometimes we wait until we see the entire staircase before we move,
Mhm.
and that has a tendency to keep us stuck. If we do one thing and we later find out that that was not the right thing to do, we can simply reverse it. We can make a U-turn, as long as obviously there's nothing, like permanent. But take baby steps, but take action. Inaction can make a situation feel even worse than
Right.
it really is.
But and I hear you, and I see it happening all the time in my own coaching practice as well. It's the first step, that part about trusting. How do you trust if you
Okay.
have, if life has cheated you? How do you
Yeah.
trust?
Again, I think it's all mindset, Zara. I think it's all the narrative that you tell yourself. I think if we look back on our life, for all of us, for every
Yes.
single one of us,
Yes.
we will see so many clues, so much evidence of how we have come through challenges that we may at the time have not thought that we'd be able to come through. I ask people, look back on your life. I don't know your life the way you do, but look back on your life and tell me, honestly tell me, if you don't see areas, circumstances, people, events
Right.
where you thought, I cannot possibly get through this.
And
But
you did.
what
Yeah. Yeah.
you did,
Yeah.
and you probably even came out stronger. So I say, use those as your anchors. Use
Mm,
those as reference point. Hang on to those. Hang
yes.
on to those, because they give you faith,
Right.
and
If
they give you a starting point to trust.
Absolutely. So if it happened once, it can happen again, is basically what you're saying is, yeah, things happen in surprisingly wonderful ways before, and that can happen again.
It will actually happen again, Zara. It will happen again.
There's that certainty that you were talking about.
That's it. That's it. I'm just going to say something else, if I may, please. In the words of Wayne Dyer,
Mhm.
when you change the way you look at things, the things you
What
look at
you look at
change.
change. Absolutely. Beautiful.
Perspective is narrative, Zara. It's
Yes,
storytelling is a story we tell ourselves.
that's right. We have a story about the way we look. We have a story about the way people see us. We have somebody says one line to us, and we build a whole story behind it.
A whole story, a
Right?
whole story,
A
a
whole
whole
story.
book sometimes, a whole book. We build a whole book around something that
Exactly.
we literally saw a 5-second clip of.
Exactly, right? It's like that person, they said that to me because they must have been thinking this, and da 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 da, on it goes, right? So you build a whole story around one sentence.
That's it.
The human mind is so powerful, isn't it?
That's it. That's it. And also, as they say, what you feed your focus expands. So if somebody said something to you, use the example that you just gave, Sarah. Somebody said something to you, your mind will remember other circumstances where other people have said something similar to you. And then that's how we start to believe these things as fact. Or
Right.
Zara said, um, I'm not very smart. Maybe
Mm,
that's not even what you said, but I have interpreted it as Zara saying, I'm not smart.
exactly. Yes.
Then go and remember teachers, boyfriends, my husband, my colleagues who have said words that I have interpreted to mean that I am not smart. So I then tell myself that I am stupid.
Mm. So now it's certified because so many people have said it. So it must be true.
I love that word you just used. I love that word you just used. It's certified. It's got the stamp of
Stamp on
certification.
it.
No,
Yes.
stupid. I love that word. It's certified. Yes.
Right. So talk to me a little more. Tell me about certainty.
Oh, certainty. I think certainty is my new word for sure. Is my new word. I think certainty comes from doing. Certainty comes from allowing. I'm going to use the example we just gave. We just gave the example of somebody who's going through a challenging situation and who then uses their past the way they overcame past challenges as their anchors. I think that's certainty. So when they come across the next challenge and they have trust, they can use the anchors to help them build trust. That's certainty
Mm,
because they've been there, they've done it, they've got the experience, they're embodying a life of certainty, a life of knowing, a life of trusting, a life of self-belief. That's what
mm,
I think certainty is. Knowing that it's not a case of I know it all. It's a case of knowing that even if I fall, I will be
yes.
able to stand up again. To me, that's certainty.
Amazing. Amazing. So so then if I summarize it, certainty is trusting my ability to get back up.
That's what I think it is. Trusting is knowing that I have the capacity to get back up no matter what.
What? Amazing.
That can apply in any area of life, Zara. That can apply
Right.
with tangible and intangible, such as I this past weekend I hosted an in-person event in my home, and a few of the ladies who came have been to all of my past events. The one I held this last weekend was my fifth event since 2022 when I started. I held the first one in June 2022. So I've had five since then. And some of the ladies who came, who've been to all of them, were here again on Saturday. And they said, Ene, your confidence levels are out of this world. And I said, I appreciate that. I accept that. I receive that. I said, I I think that it's actually certainty more
Mm,
than confidence. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, I am certain that I am doing the right thing. Therefore, I know that even if I make mistakes, and I will make mistakes, I know that it's all good. I choose to trust the process. That's what I call certainty,
mm.
Sarah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, Ine, if someone wants to find you and hook up with you and learn more from you, where should they go? What should they do?
Thank you. So the best place to find me is on Instagram. That's my that's where I hang out most of the time. I am also on Facebook and LinkedIn, but Instagram is I guess my what I choose to call home. And I
Right.
will share with you my Instagram handle. I'll share
Sure.
that with you in your notes so I don't confuse people with trying to spell it out, if that's okay, Zara.
That's
Um,
okay. I'll put it in the show notes. And
Perfect.
you are also the author of more than one books. Can you tell us about it?
Absolutely. I am the sole author of my number one best-selling book, Your Life is Calling, which has a foreword written by none other than Mr. Les Brown. He wrote the foreword to my book, and this book is all about the journey of self-discovery and the journey of then stepping into a life with deeper meaning, deeper purpose, deeper significance on an individual basis. So it's basically my story. It's Your Life is Calling, how to do you and live without regret. This is available on Amazon, and I
Amazing.
will share the link with you, Zara. I'm also the co-author of 3 other books. Becoming Dynamic, which was written, it's an anthology, written in collaboration with Lisa Nichols, our coach. Dare to Rise Above Mediocrity, another anthology written in collaboration with Les Brown. And finally, You Are Enough, again, another anthology written again in collaboration with Les Brown.
Amazing. Congratulations. That's fabulous.
Thank you. Maybe
And
not quite as many as you, but well,
ah,
but it's all good. It's all good. We're not comparing. We don't do
no,
comparison
no
anymore. We don't do
comparison.
comparison
No
anymore. No, no, no.
comparison. No,
Yeah,
no.
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
Ine, before we say goodbye today, I think at the beginning you had told me that you were going to offer something to the audience. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So what I would have loved to have offered actually, Zara, unfortunately, I'm not able to because it would have happened before your lovely listeners hear this. So what I thought would be a great substitute is in line with when this will be released in the month of September 2023, the entire month. So from the 1st of September till the 30th of September, if anybody wishes to connect with me, to hear more, to hear their own thoughts, to hear things, to hear themselves say things that they may never even have heard themselves say before, then I invite people. I offer a strategy call, and I will share my calendar link with you, Zara, so you can put it in your show notes. I offer in the month of September a strategy call, a free strategy call for anyone who would like to engage with me and talk.
And just find out how you can help them. That is
Absolutely.
very generous. 20 minutes of your time just to find out what direction to take in the future. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. The gift of your time is a very precious gift. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome, Zara. This is actually for you. So I do it with pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. And where are you headed now? What are some of the things that you are planning to do in the world?
Oh, thank you, Zara. So I've got 3 main things on my plate for the rest of the year. The first is I'll be launching a virtual program called Your Life is Calling. And as a result of joining the program, ladies will be able to develop the clarity to identify their immediate next steps and the courage to then put those steps into action to reinvent themselves and create the next chapter of their life. That's going to be
Amazing.
a virtual class that's open to everybody anywhere around the world. Um, I said 3 things. The second is I do a lot of events and retreats. So I'll be having my 6th event in September of 2023. That's held here in London, in the UK. I don't
Okay.
know if you have listeners in the area, but if you do, they are more than welcome to to join us. My events are truly, truly transformative, even if I say so myself. Women walk away with a much deeper sense of self, a much deeper sense of courage and clarity to birth new goals and dreams. Then
Amazing.
third
Beautifully
and
said.
final, thank you, Zara. Third and final, I'll be hosting my second international retreat in Marrakesh in Morocco at the end of the year in December. Yes, December 2023. Again, my retreats are intimate and exclusive. They're small. There's a maximum of 12 attendees, and we're going away to Marrakesh. And we have, interestingly, Zara, the ladies who have signed up so far are in your part of the world. Maybe not Canada, they're actually in the US, but still in your part of the world. So this is an international retreat. Women from all over the world are welcome. And it's 6 days in Marrakesh in Morocco, from the 3rd till the 9th of December 2023.
Amazing. It seems like you are doing a lot of things and offering a lot of different formats to help people achieve their dreams and find that peace that we were talking about. Thank you so
Yes,
much, Ene.
absolutely. Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right,
I think for
folks.
me, it's sorry, let me just, is because a lot of my events are in person, and so some people may not be able to travel. So I also like to offer some virtual options so people can literally from anywhere in the world put on their laptop or put on their phones even and join us.
And you
I
know
just
what?
want
I love that. And here we are talking to each other because it is possible to do so virtually. Thank you again, Ine, for sharing your valuable wisdom with us today. And I hope to keep in touch with you and bring you back for another podcast.
I would love that very much. Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate your
You're
time
most
and
welcome.
having me. Thank you. Thank you.